Hi everyone. I'm sorry that I can't be at class today. I have to help the seniors out with a program. So I'm going to read and explain the gemara that you guys worked so hard on yesterday, Bechavruta, and you'll be able to fill out the worksheet as you watch this video. Then I'm going to ask you to give your worksheets in to the teacher who is proctoring this class. I'm going to look at them today, and I will return them to you tomorrow. I won't mark them up. I'll photocopy them so you'll still have your copy ready to go to study for the test on Tuesday. Okay, so we are on Daf Hey Amud Aleph. Daf Hey Amud Aleph. And we're starting over here right where we left off with the words Amar Rava. So let's read the first part together. Here we go. So the first part of this Gemara is a statement, and it's very similar to the last Gemara that we saw. And here we'll read it together. Amar Rava. Ba'u shnayim ve'amru b'sura b'tzafra b'chad b'shavta harag ploni et hanefesh. That is our first statement. Let's translate it together. Ve'amar Rava. Rava said. Here, I think we can highlight this way. Ve'amar Rava. Rava said. Ba'u shnayim. Two people show up. Two witnesses show up to court. Ve'amru. And they say, Bisura, in Sura. Sura is a place. Bitsafra. Tsafra means the morning. So in Sura, in the morning, Bechad b'shabta. Chad means one, and Shabta, Shabbat, means the week in this sense. So the first day of the week would be Sunday. So the two witnesses come and say on Sunday morning, what did they see? Harag Ploni et hanefesh. We saw Ploni kill a person. So let's pause here for a second and we'll fill this out in our chart. So here we have our chart on sheet 7. So if we fill this out together, this is basically a statement. And we have over here, Rava is the rabbi who is talking. He was the person who was talking before also. And Rava says over here, two people come and say, on Sunday morning, in Sura, which is a place, we saw Ploni kill someone. Sorry, it's so messy. It's a little hard to write in this app. And again, this is basically the statement of group 1. So it's a statement, or we can say over here, what group 1 says. Okay, great. So now let's go back into the Gemara and read our second statement. Okay, so now let's read our second statement over here. Ubau shnayim v'amru b'fanya b'chad b'shabta imanu hayitem b'naharda. This is our second statement. We'll translate this together. Ubau shnayim, two people come. This would be group 2. V'amru, and they say to the Beit Din, wait a second, b'panya, panya is the opposite of tzafra, and it means at night. Bechad b'shabta, so the same day, right, the first day of the week, Sunday. So the two witnesses come and say on Sunday night, Imanu hayitim ben Naharda. You were with us in Naharda. You were with us. Naharda is also the name of a place. You were with us, group 1, in a different place. So it's impossible that you saw Ploni kill someone. You must be lying. You must be Adam Zomim. So let's plug this in on our chart. So now we have another statement. And this would be over here, the statement of group 2 showing up. And now we're going from Ubau Shnayim until Binahar Da. If we want to translate that, we can say two other people come. And this would be group 2, and say, on Sunday night, you, meaning group 1, were with us in Naharda, right? And what they're doing over here, we can actually scroll up. a little bit more, what we see over here is again, we can put this over here, add this over here, that group 2 is accusing group 1 of being, running out of space here, of being Eidim Zomim. And now what we have to figure out is this true? Is group 1 really lying and it's impossible that they saw Ploni kill someone because later on they were in Naharda that night? Or is it possible that they really are telling the truth and also group 2 is telling the truth? That they were in Surah in the morning and saw a murder happen, but then it is possible to travel to Naharda and have seen group 2 later on that night. And it's possible to get from Surah to Naharda in that time. Okay, so now what the Gemara is going to do is the same thing that it did last time with the case of supersight, and it's going to suggest a test. So let's go back to the Gemara. Okay, so let's keep going. Chazinan imit safar lafanya matzi azil mesura lenaharda lo have zomim beim lav have zomim. So this is basically almost exactly what we read for the Beit Din test before in our previous Gemara. And now it's going to explain to us how it's going to work in this case of being in different places. So let's translate this together. Chazinan. We know chazi means to see. So chazinan, we see. I mitzafer lapanya. If from morning to night, matze azel, it is possible to go mesura lenaharda, to go from Surah to Naharda, then lo have zomim. Then group 1 is not Eidim Zomim. Meaning, if it's possible to be in Surah in the morning and travel and get to Naharda by nightfall, then they're telling the truth and they are not Eidim Zomim. V'ilav, but if not, and it's impossible to get from Surah to Naharda in that time, then they are not Zomim. So let's translate, let's plug this into the chart, and we'll discuss it a little bit more. Okay, so this is now we're looking further down the sheet. So this is our test proposed by the Gemara that the Beit Din would do. We're going from Chazinan until Zonin. Just move us over a little bit so we have a little bit more space. If we want to write this down, so Chazinan, we see if it's possible to be in Surah Sunday morning and get to Naharda by Sunday night. Running out of space over here. If yes, then they are not Eidim Zomim. If no, then they are Eidim Zomim. And we want to think of kind of like a parallel case over here. For example, you can think of it this way. If Group 1 claimed to see a murder in Montreal on Sunday morning, but then a group came and said that's impossible because we saw you in New York Sunday night, you have to see, is it possible to be in Montreal Sunday morning but get to New York Sunday night? And it is, because the drive is about 6 hours. So if you said you saw a murder in Montreal at 8 a.m., then people saw you in New York at 8 p.m., that's definitely more than enough time to travel and to really be telling the truth. However, if people came and said, we saw a murder in Israel at 8 a.m. Sunday morning, then you saw them in Lazy Bean at 10 a.m. on Sunday morning also, right? Or let's say even Sunday afternoon, it's not really possible to be in Israel Sunday morning and have gone back in time to be in New York or in New Jersey in kind of mid-Sunday, Sunday morning. So in that situation, you would say that they are Eidim Zomim because it's impossible they would have been able to do that in that time. And that basically is the test that is being proposed by the Beit Din. Now, what the Gemara is going to do is it's going to challenge it the same exact way that we challenged our previous case. So let's go back into the Gemara. So here we go. Pshita mahu detema. There's our challenge. Pshita, this is obvious. Mahu detema. What is this coming to teach us? We can plug this into our chart. So, pshita mahu detema. Pshita means, let's put this over here. This is obvious. Mahu detema. What is this coming to teach us? And again, the question is, what are we saying is obvious? We're basically saying this test is obvious. That obviously the Gemara or the Beit Din would go and test this out. Why does the Gemara have to come and teach us this? So a classic Pshita Mahu detema case. And now the Gemara is going to solve this attack or challenge, attack or challenge, by saying that if it hadn't come and taught us this, we might have thought something else. So let's look at our final line of the Gemara. Our final line of the Gemara, lichosh legam la pircha kamash malan. That lichosh, to take into account, or I might have thought. So lichosh, I might have thought that I have to take into account gam la pircha, flying camels. Gamla, gamal is camel, and pircha is flying. Flying camels we know does not exist. We'll look at Rashi tomorrow, but Rashi says flying camels just means like super speed, right? Back then people traveled by camel. So I might have thought I have to take into account people who claim that they have super speed, and kamash malan, it comes to teach us that we don't. What exactly is it saying? So let's plug this into our chart, and with that we'll wrap up for today. Okay, so our final part of the chart, I'm going to flip the page over. So this is an answer. Lichosh legam la pircha. You might have thought you have to take into account people who claim they have flying camels or super speed. Meaning, as we said before, let's say you do that test from Surah to Naharda, and it's actually impossible to get from Surah to Naharda from Sunday morning to Sunday night. So you would have thought, right, being the Beit Din testers, that group 1 must have been lying, and really they are Edom Zomim. But maybe group 1 would come back and tell you, no, you only tested for people with regular speed, but we happen to have flying camels. We happen to have exceptional speed, and we actually are able to make it back. Just like the case we saw last time of super sight, right? The case where we might say that, hey, like we go and see, can you see from the east side of the castle to the left side? And if you can't, then we claim that people are Edom Zomim. But there we thought maybe, right, you have to take into account Nahora Bari. Maybe someone might come and say, oh, Beit Din, you can't see that, but I have exceptional vision, right? So we might have thought over here, if you hadn't taught us the Beit Din test, I might have thought I have to listen to someone who has an excuse of saying that they actually have super speed. But Kamash Malan, this comes to teach us, meaning the test, the fact that the Gemara teaches us the Beit Din test, comes to teach us that you don't. That we don't have to take into account super speed, and we can add this down here. We only take into account regular speed. Unless, of course, someone could prove that they have exceptional speed, we basically do not listen to them, and we only take into account normal speed. For example, if someone says that, or someone claims they saw a murder, or claims that they were in Lazy Bean at 10 a.m., but then you see them at Maya Notes at 10:01 a.m., we would say it's impossible to run from Lazy Bean to Maya Notes in 1 minute. I think that's pretty much true. I think it's impossible to run from Lazy Bean to Maya Note in 1 minute. What happens if the person says, no, but I happen to be really, really fast, right? So unless they could prove it, they could actually go and we could test them out. But if they're claiming something impossible, like you can get from Frisch to Maya Note in 1 minute, like that's impossible. You're not able to travel that amount of time. And they say, no, I happen to have super speed. Unless they can prove it, we don't have to listen to them. We only take into account regular speed. And that finishes our Gemara for today. So everyone should kind of make sure that they fully understand this and hand in your worksheets to the person who is supervising the class, and I will give them back to you I'll give them back to you tomorrow. All right, have a great day.